Thanks, Sean. Well, joining us now live on the phone to talk about the coronavirus and those breaking new restrictions in place in the city of Atlanta is Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. Mayor Bottoms, thank you for being here with us. Let's dive right in. This stay-at-home order is more restrictive than the state-mandated order to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Why do you think these restrictions are necessary, and based on what information?
Well, thank you for having me again. It's necessary because Atlanta has some very unique challenges that face communities within our city. So when you hear the healthcare professionals speak about crowds and they talk about underlying health conditions, well, think about our communities in Atlanta. Asthma we have one of the highest asthma rates in the country. That's considered an underlying condition. Lupus, diabetes, high blood pressure, all things that are very common within our community. And so I had a very good discussion with the governor and shared with the governor my concerns as it relates to what our needs were specifically in the city of Atlanta. And I understand that the governor, of course, has to balance what's best for the state as a whole. And I shared with him that I thought that given our density and given many of the underlying health conditions that are prevalent within our population, that I thought that it would be best that we go a step further within the city. And he's deferred to our local decision-making on so many matters as it relates to the COVID-19 virus, and that's what you saw reflected in the order I issued on yesterday.
Now, Mayor Bottoms, people are wondering, how will the city be able to enforce this? Police officers, first responders, will they be protected and ready to enforce this new policy?
What I hope is that people will continue to be respectful and have regard for our city and the people who may be most impacted by this virus. So what I've seen in the reports that I've received back from our public safety personnel is that by and large, people have been abiding by our rules. We don't want to have to expend public safety personnel on having to enforce these rules. But I can tell you, Karyn, as I've driven through the city over the past few days, it looks like people are staying at home. I know that people have had questions about the Beltline in particular in our parks. And I can tell you, as I've spoken with Dr. Carlos Del Rio from Emory University and some of our other healthcare professionals, what they've said is it's important for mental and physical and emotional well-being that people still be able to go out and get some fresh air and get some exercise. So we have made the decision to leave the Beltline and our parks open, but we ask people to please allow us to leave those places open by not congregating. Space yourself out, go at different times of day, and go explore other areas of the Beltline Trail that aren't as densely populated within our city.
Now, arenas and stadiums being used as emergency hospitals in New York City. Do you see us having to do anything that severe?
Karyn, I suspect that at some point soon our hospitals may get near capacity. The feedback I received today in talking with an emergency room doctor, and this is just information that he's provided to me, is that while there's still beds available in our hospitals, that our ICU units across the city are at capacity. And so, again, this is why we have gone a step further in Atlanta and asked people to please stay at home, because we don't have the capacity that we even normally have within the city, because there was a flood at Grady Hospital just a couple of months ago. So we're already down several beds at Grady Hospital, and people have to understand that when we overrun our health care, our hospitals, that people will still come in with heart attacks. People will still have car accidents. So these things that happen every day on top of COVID-19 will make our healthcare system collapse in the same way that you're seeing it happen in New York and you're seeing it happen across the globe. It's the reason we're asking people to just please stay home.
Now,
Give
Mayor,
this a few weeks, let it settle down.
I want to say the governor has been, you said you just talked to him, criticized for not doing enough to flatten the curve, as we're saying. What further steps would you like to see him take, if any?
I'm going to defer to the governor to make decisions on behalf of the state as a whole. So I won't second guess decisions that he's making because he's balancing a lot of different community interests, and I'm sure he's making decisions that he thinks are best across the state. But I'm grateful for the power and the authority to be able to make those decisions on behalf of our city, and that's exactly what I've done.
And we've talked about people brushing this off. I know your mother, very active in the community, still busy. How do you tell her, advise others, loved ones, friends, to take this seriously and to stay home?
Karyn, I think what's beginning to happen, and this is a sad part of this, we're all, we know people who are directly impacted by this. I have a very dear friend whose mother, otherwise healthy, is now in the hospital completely intubated with pneumonia. Her husband tested positive. She couldn't get a test. By the time she got to the hospital, with shortness of breath, she had full-blown pneumonia. I got word of someone else within City Hall whose father passed today. I have a neighbor's brother who's hospitalized. And, I think we're going to all begin to be able to give these lists. And this is why people have to take this seriously. So when we don't know who has an underlying health condition, you wouldn't know that my 4 children have asthma. But if, God forbid, they got this virus, this could impact them in a catastrophic way. And this is what we're saying to people. It's happening to people we know. And if you don't know somebody today, it's likely you will know someone tomorrow. And just as you would not intentionally go out and spread this virus, please don't unintentionally spread it, because you can be infected and not know that you have it.
And you told me a couple of days ago, this has really become personal to you. A dear friend, someone close to you has died. What is it like? Explain to people getting that call that this has taken a life.
Well, it was not someone who I knew personally, but it was a cousin of someone who I know personally. And I think that's the thing. Each time I get one of these phone calls, it makes my heart sink, because it's happening, and it's happening to people very, very quickly. And you all are watching the news in the same way that I'm watching it, and you're seeing some healthy people are saying, I'm not having any symptoms. There are others who are saying it starts off with a small cough or a sore throat, and then they're in the hospital with pneumonia. And it just, each day I wake up, I thank God for the health of my family, and I pray for the health of our city and the people across this country as a whole, because it's frightening for us. We don't have to panic, but we need to take precaution. And the best precaution we can all take right now is to stay at home.
Mayor Lance Bottoms, thank you so much. Are you quarantining yourself, your family at this point?
I am, and I can tell you it's challenging. I have 4 children in my house. We are very, very careful of the movement and who comes in and out of our house. But we're staying as close to home as we possibly can. My son just told me he needed to run to a friend's house to get something for school. So, it's those things that we're juggling as parents, that we're juggling as city officials. So I know that it's difficult because I'm living it myself as a mother and as a mayor. But it's for the best of all of us if we just stay as close to home as we possibly can and only leave when we absolutely have to.
Mayor Lance Bottoms, thanks for your time. We appreciate you.